and the Scythe, Veil of Obsidian, Book 1, written by C.J. LaPolla. Chapter 1, Arrival. The soft clod of Earle's horse landed with a dull thud on the muddy roadway, sending droplets splattering in every direction. Through the dense mist that hung in the air, a sleepy town slowly emerged in the dim evening light. Flickering candles cast a warm glow from the windows of a handful of houses, their square outlines illuminating the otherwise shadowy streets. Earle tightened his grip on the reins, his weary eyes scanning the scene before him. He could almost hear the whispers of the town, as if it held secrets waiting to be unraveled. The air was heavy with anticipation, an ethereal veil draped over the cobblestone streets. He urged his horse forward, the rhythmic sound of hooves echoing through the mist. As he drew closer, the flickering lights revealed snippets of everyday life within the town. Silhouettes moved behind the windows, their shadows dancing to a silent tune. A soft murmur of conversation floated on the evening breeze, blending harmoniously with the distant hooting of an owl. He inhaled deeply, savoring the air of a place he hadn't tasted in years, home. Earle's absence from home weighed heavily on his heart, a burden that had been accumulating since the tender age of 17, when he had embarked on the path of an ascendant Obsidian. As he emerged from the crucible, a transformative rite of passage, he had been granted a mere week to reconnect with his family before setting off to the citadel for his sacred duty. The farewell had been bittersweet, his tear-streaked face a testament to the realization that such reunions would be few and far between. But with time the tears had dried, replaced by a resolute determination to fulfill his purpose, to serve the Lord Avatar and the Covenant. Now, as he halted his horse amidst the mist-shrouded town, the echoes of his past reverberated in his mind. The neigh of his steed broke the silence, protesting the abrupt pause. Earle's gaze swept across the veiled streets, tracing the meandering paths that wound between homes and danced along rooftops. The town seemed to hold its breath, enveloped in a hushed stillness, interrupted only by the serenade of insects welcoming his arrival. He dismounted, his boots sinking into the damp earth, and tethered his horse nearby. With measured steps, he began to navigate the streets, his senses attuned to the ethereal atmosphere that blanketed the town. Each corner turned and each house passed held the potential for an encounter, a reunion, or perhaps a revelation. The shadows cast by the flickering candlelight in the windows seemed to dance in harmony with his thoughts. His heart, a symphony of emotions, quickened with anticipation. Earle's journey had brought him back to this place, where the memories of his youth intertwined with the calling of his duty. In the embrace of the mist, he allowed himself a moment of reflection. The path he had chosen, the sacrifices made, were all for a higher purpose. To safeguard the ideals of Obsidian, to stand as a shield against the encroaching darkness. The weight of his responsibility settled firmly upon his shoulders. As the serenade of insects continued its melodic chorus, Earle steeled himself. The mist might conceal secrets and uncertainties, but his resolve burned bright within him. With a deep breath, he resumed his journey, the misty tendrils parting like a curtain before him. Earle's hand lingered on the sweaty neck of his trusted companion, Munson, offering a moment of respite after the arduous climb to the town. Despite the coolness of the evening air, the journey had been taxing, and he felt compelled to give his loyal horse a break from bearing his weight. Taking hold of the leads, he led Munson through the winding streets of the town, their hooves echoing softly against the cobblestones. As he passed by home after home, the atmosphere shifted. Some houses stood in darkness, their inhabitants hidden away from the world, while others emitted a warm glow, vibrant with life and movement. The murmur of conversations floated through the air, carrying snippets of dinner discussions and tales of the day's events. Occasional arguments flared up around him from within the homes, but Earle chose to tune out the distractions, focusing on his own purpose. Finally, his gaze settled upon a familiar sight. a home with candles adorning its window, casting dancing shadows upon the walls. He recognized that door, that window, and the memories flooded back, resurrecting a time long ago. Most vividly, he recalled the silhouette that moved beyond the illuminated glass. A figure he had missed dearly. His mother. It had been an eternity since he last laid eyes upon her, and the details of her face threatened to fade from his memory. Yet, he could still recognize her laughter, and the distinctive sense that wafted from within, carrying a potent tang of nostalgia. The familiar dance of their shadows evoked a surge of emotions within him, reminding him of the simplicity and warmth of home. For a long moment he stood there, transfixed by the scene unfolding before him, before mustering the strength to lead his horse further. Home, as much as he longed for its embrace, was not his primary mission. A greater duty awaited him, one that transcended the comforts of his past. With a heavy heart he bid a silent farewell to the shadowy silhouette of his mother and continued onward. The weight of responsibility settled upon his shoulders, a constant reminder of the purpose that had drawn him away from the simplicity of his former life. Though his path was fraught with challenges and sacrifices, he knew he must press forward, driven by the call to serve something greater than himself. The crunching of small stones beneath Earle's boots resonated in the quiet night as his gaze fixated on the town's grandest edifice, the Temple of Obsidian. It stood tall and imposing, its significance evident in its architecture. Approaching the iron fence that encircled the sacred grounds, Earle secured his horse to one of the empty hitches, unmoved by Munson's whinnies of reluctance. A gentle pat on the steed's neck reassured him before he made his way toward the gate. His hand grasped the gate, only to recoil as a reddish rust stained his palm, a disapproving scowl etched across his face. "One should keep the house of our Lord in good repair," he muttered under his breath. With a protesting screech, he pushed the gate wide open and stepped through the threshold. The late hour cast an eerie stillness upon the temple grounds, devoid of any signs of life. His boots echoed on the stone pathway, leading him to the imposing metal doors that guarded the entrance to the temple. Standing before the intricately carved doors, Earle paused, his senses attuned to the silence. Not a whisper stirred within the temple, but the breeze rustled the dried remnants of flowers in a nearby garden. The wind howled, seeming to align with the purpose that brought him here. He raised his hand and rapped on the solid metal door 3 times, the echoes resonating through the temple's hollow interior. Silence persisted for a few agonizing moments. Frustration gnawed at Earle, compelling him to pound his fist repeatedly on the door. Finally a voice cursed from within, and the sound of numerous locks being unlatched pierced the stillness. The door creaked open, revealing a disheveled priest with a furrowed brow. "Who goes there? Do you have any idea how late it is?" the priest chided, his annoyance evident. "Yes, I am well aware," Earle responded, his voice resonating smoothly from within his hooded cloak. "Then you should know." The priest's words trailed off as his eyes fell upon the insignia nestled on Earle's chest, a vertical sheathed scepter leading to 2 gleaming gemstone eyes encircled by a golden scythe. A moment of silence hung in the air as the priest's gaze fixated on the symbol. Recognition washed over his face, and his tone softened. "Forgive me. A man of the scythe is always welcome in my home." Earle's expression remained stern. "It is not your home." "Forgive me, the home of Obsidian," the priest corrected himself, extending an invitation. "Come, please, enter." Earle brushed past the priest, and as he did, the metal door slammed shut behind him. His eyes adjusted swiftly to the darkness, revealing a prayer chamber resembling countless others. Pews lined the path toward the altar, while a towering black pillar of obsidian reached toward the dome-like ceiling, casting a soft, ethereal blue glow. "What brings a man of the scythe to Agalia?" the priest stammered, a mix of curiosity and unease in his voice. "I was summoned," Earle declared, his tone leaving no room for doubt. "Was it not you who summoned me?" The priest's voice trembled as he responded. It was not. Perhaps there has been a mistake. A scythe does not make mistakes, Earle retorted, his gaze locked on the priest, his eyes shining with an intensity that mirrored the flickering torchlight.